Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise for the presentation of colors by the West Palm Beach Fire and Rescue Honor Guard.
Column left, forward. Column left, forward. Left, 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 right, right over left. Mark time, forward. Left. Detail, pull. Left, peace. Present, course.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carry, course. Right, peace. Forward, forward. Leave, 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 right.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing at this time as the Reverend William Washington leads us in this morning's invocation.
To Michael, the mayor, the members of the commission and other family members and friends and citizens of West Palm Beach, we come this morning, we pause because something important has happened. Bill Moss has left this earthly work, and we come today to memorialize that life, to remember his life. If Bill had been a football player, he would have played for the Notre Dame. You know, Notre Dame, they don't have names on the jerseys. They are all just team members. Bill was that kind of man. He was just a team player. He did so much for the Northwest Consortium, NCCI. He encouraged us in so many ways. So we are glad to be here this morning to remember his great work. If you would bow your heads with me. Lord, we've gathered here today to remember your servant leader, Bill Moss. Bill showed us what a servant leader looks like. He was all about helping to improve and better people, putting the people first, even sacrificing for the people. Bill Moss did these things. Today, we memorialize and remember Bill's life. Bill could be trusted. He accepted opposition without offense. Bill didn't depend on praise of others to keep on going. Bill could hold steady in the face of disapproval and even temporary loss. He was at ease in the presence of strangers. He was sympathetic and friendly. He was interested in people, all people, no prejudice. He was tactful. He would anticipate how his words would affect the person. He was steady. He cultivated people. He encouraged people. We bless his service and his memory. We ask that you comfort his family, friends, and this community. Amen.
Please be seated. I want to say good morning to everybody and thank you for being here this morning as we pause to remember the life of Commissioner William Bill Moss. My name is Peter Robbins. I had the pleasure of working with Commissioner Moss on many occasions during my 5 years as Public Information Officer here at the City of West Palm Beach. And I'll remember him, as many of you will, for his sense of humor and his keeping a level head, but mostly for his deep passion for the City of West Palm Beach, for serving the people of his district and of the entire city. And I just want to say it's truly an honor to have worked with Commissioner Moss. I know I will miss him, and I know the city will miss him as well. At this time, I'd like to read a letter that was sent for this occasion from the office of United States Senator Bill Nelson. It's addressed to Mayor Moyo and says, "Dear friends, it is with great sadness that you gather today to honor Commissioner Bill Moss. Commissioner Moss dedicated his life to this community in a way that truly exemplifies a servant leader. His legacy as a true pioneer to the city of West Palm Beach will never be forgotten. I regret that I cannot be with you. Although words are of little comfort at this time, please know that Grace and I are keeping the City of West Palm Beach community in our thoughts and prayers." And the letter is signed, "Sincerely, United States Senator Bill Nelson." At this time, I'd like to ask the Honorable Mayor of West Palm Beach, Jerry Moyo, to begin our program.
Again, thank you all for being here today. It's a real honor for you, for us to have you here. And I know Bill is just smiling somewhere, knowing that you're here. I started many times to prepare some comments, and I really couldn't. So I thought I would just say a few words. And it may sound a little bit like stream of conscience, but that's sort of what it is. But before I do that, there are a few people I would like to acknowledge. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge Bill's sister, Elaine Bask. Elaine is here in the front row. His brother, Brad Moss, is not here, was unable to stay. He is on his way to Colorado, I believe. I'd also like to acknowledge his nephews, Michael Bask, who's sitting here on the dais. Michael? Jeffrey Bask, Darren Bask, Vincent Moss, and Alex Moss, niece Kira Bask, Uncle Cac Ackerman, cousins Lori and Scott Ackerman. I'd also like to acknowledge the presenters today. Thank you, Peter, for coming back to us for a few minutes only, I guess. Former City of West Palm Beach PIO and acting as our MC this morning. The Dreyfus School for the Arts, their singers, and Arlene Graham Sparks, their director. Aren't they amazing? Let's give them a round of applause. We want to also acknowledge the Principal of Dreyfus Schools, Susan Atherley. Susan, are you here? Thank you. It's good to see you again. And I want to particularly acknowledge the Belvedere Elementary School students who led us in the pledge. Bill loved Belvedere Elementary School. It was one of his favorite places to go. And I think one of the last things I did with him in the last couple of months is we took a basket of books over to the library, and together we read to the kids and talked with them. And Belvedere had a really special place in his heart. The principal of Belvedere, Miss Diane Mahar, is also here. Forest Hill ROTC student, Sergeant Benjamin Tidwell is the director, and Forest Hill High School principal, Mary Stratos. Ms. Stratos, are you here? Bill is a graduate of Forest Hill, and we really wanted to make sure that we had representation here from Forest Hill Elementary School, or Forest Hill High School. I'm going to just say a couple of memories because we're here to celebrate Bill's life. One of the things that I appreciated most about him was his sense of humor. Very often when many of us were sitting in the mayor's boardroom getting ready for agenda review, we'd all be there, and if Bill came in a little late, he'd walk in and he'd say, "All rise." And you know, every once in a while there were some newbies there who actually stood up when he came in. The other thing that I'm going to miss personally is Bill was my supplier. He supplied me with chocolate. There was hardly a day that went by that I didn't travel over to Bill's office to get a piece of chocolate to get me through the rest of the day. And when I was on the commission, his office was right next door to mine, so the temptation was always present. And I also knew that he had my back during commission meetings, because when things would get a little tough, I would see a piece of chocolate working its way down the dais to me. Certainly, I'm going to miss that. And I know last night at our first commission meeting, since his passing, I kept looking over there, to see if he was there, to sort of catch his reaction, as I do with everyone on the dais. And to see that empty seat was really heartbreaking. Another thing Bill loved is he loved representing the Hispanic community. It was just one of his pleasures. He did everything he could to make sure that we were sensitive to the issues of the Hispanic community. He was a good advocate for them. As I was walking around this weekend, as I was talking to people, several people came up to me and said, "I really want you to say this when you talk on Tuesday. I really want you to say this." And this that they wanted me to say was that Bill worked so hard to represent the neighborhoods. That was where his heart was. If you were a neighborhood president anywhere in the city and you needed help or you needed to get something done, you probably called Bill Moss. And he believed so strongly that the neighborhoods in our city were the jewels in our crown. They really are sparkly and mean so much to what our city is, and he lived that every day. He was an advocate for the neighborhoods. Bill also loved being part of the League of Cities. And I'm so pleased today to say that I believe every city in Palm Beach County is represented here. And I want to thank the League and their members for their outpouring of support and condolences and for being here today. I also want to thank the members of the County Commission who are here today. I'm going to miss that smile. I'm going to miss that twinkle in his eyes. I'm going to miss him. I wouldn't be here today if it weren't in part for him. When I was appointed to the commissioner, he was one of the people who voted for me to be on the commission. And when I was hesitant about doing that because I was afraid about entering into a campaign, having never run a campaign before in my life, he said, "Don't worry, there will be help. There are people out there who can help you." And he always advised me as I entered that campaign and all the campaigns after that. I would like to also say that we wouldn't be sitting in this beautiful place today if it weren't in part for what Bill Moss did, the courage that he and the other members of the commission showed in the face of a lot of opposition, knowing that the development of this corner would add so significantly to the development of Clematis Street and the development of our overall downtown. So thank him for that. I have a tribute here today, and I'm going to read it, so bear with me. I'm going to read the whole thing. On March 28, 2012, the city of West Palm Beach suffered a great loss. Commissioner William M. Moss passed away at his residence in West Palm Beach. Whereas Bill was born in West Palm Beach at Good Samaritan Hospital on March 7, 1945, to the late Maurice Moss, the late Helen Mildred née Ackerman Moss. Bill was a Forest Hill High School graduate and a University of Miami graduate. I also learned from Bill about it's all about the you. I didn't know what that meant, so now I know. Bill had extensive experience in broadcast industry, having worked for NBC Television, Avco Broadcasting, while with NBC as a writer and then administrator of advertising and promotion for NBC-owned TV station WKYC in Cincinnati. Moss's creative talents were recognized with 2 Emmy Awards. In 1975, Bill took over the family business, Stag Limited, a retail store on Worth Avenue. Bill was a citizen's advocate, helping the city of West Palm Beach to revitalize the city's downtown appearance with new landscaping and beautification projects throughout the city. Everyone who met Bill was touched by his caring nature, outgoing personality, and charming humor and smile. And whereas Bill was a true public servant, who touched the many lives of many people, cared about his community, and worked for decades to serve the residents of West Palm Beach and Palm Beach County. He served the community on numerous local boards and committees prior to becoming city commissioner in 2000. More recently, Bill Moss won his 7th term as West Palm Beach City Commissioner and served as president of the commission in 2003-2007. He was also, very importantly, king of the putting challenge for 2 consecutive years. Bill's service to the community included board member and past president of Palm Beach County League of Cities, vice chair of Palm Beach County Tourist Development Council, board member of Palm Beach County Convention and Visitors Bureau, board member of Palm Beach County Metropolitan Planning Organization, chair of the West Palm Beach Charter Review Committee. And whereas Bill is survived by his brother, Brad Moss, with his wife, Peg, his sister, Elaine Bask, nephews, Jeffrey Bask and his wife, Ellen, Michael Bask and his husband, Tim Harris, Darren Bask, Vincent Moss, Alex Moss, and great-niece, Kira Bask, and his uncle, Jack Ackerman, and his wife, Barbara, and his cousins, Lori Ackerman and Scott Ackerman. Now, therefore, for I, Jerry Moyo, Mayor of the City of West Palm Beach, do hereby pay tribute to City Commissioner William M. Moss for his many years of outstanding service and dedication to the citizens of West Palm Beach. On this day, April 2nd, 2012. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Mayor Moyo. At this time, we'd like to ask Commissioner Moss's colleagues on the West Palm Beach City Commission to take their turn saying a few words, and we'll begin with the City Commission President, Mr. Ike Robinson.
Good morning to you again. I'm sitting here having deja vu, and just bear with me for a minute because I'm going to take off my hat as President of the West Palm Beach City Commission, and I'm going to put back on my hat as immediate past president of the Palm Beach County League of Cities. And Mike and Elaine and the family, you are Bill's immediate family. But I want you to know that Bill had a vast, extended family. And the political members are sitting in front of us. From Tallahassee, Mike Siddick, Executive Director of Florida League of Cities, past President of the League, Dr. Carmine Piore, and our present President of the Palm Beach County League of Cities, Lisa Trepepe. We thank you very much for being here because Bill served with us and he taught all of us. And I'm going to put my hat back on as President of the Commission. Bill and I were number 2 in serving our city here. I came on board in 1999. Bill came on board in 2000. But I met Bill when he was the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Committee, and I was on the appointed to the Criminal Justice Advisory Committee. And I thought both of us had lost our minds. We had no idea that we will be here serving the citizens. One thing I've learned about Bill, because he became a mentor to me, don't ever worry about what you do. Complete an objective and move on to the next one. And basically, this is what I've had the privilege of sitting with him. Very few people in this audience realize or knew that Bill and I served the Florida League of Cities as a member of the over 410 cities, as the only 2 elected officials in the state of Florida who sat on the 30-member board of directors of the Florida League of Cities. He never touted that, but our job is to do what we could for Palm Beach County and our city of West Palm Beach. Last night was difficult for me because my last comments with Bill was Tuesday afternoon. He asked me to save him a seat at the Palm Beach County League of Cities Board of Directors meeting. And I said, okay, I will see you there. And I followed his directions because I do sometimes. Last night I looked at that empty seat, and all of a sudden I realized, wow, he won't be there. However, I can assure you that with my colleagues and myself and the mayor, the city of West Palm Beach are in very good hands, because we are going to continue the work of Bill Moss, because he cared about what we joked about. People of the city of West Palm Beach don't work for us. We work for the people of the city of West Palm Beach. My one loss is we play in the dirt. I never taught him how to grow collard greens, and that's really what he wanted to do. So as president of the commission, I'm not going to be able to, I call it a 4x5. There are 5 of us. We call it a year's term as president. I'm about 48 hours from my last official duty. We will hand this baton off to our next president. Unfortunately, it won't be Bill, but you can better believe that our next president and the rest of my colleagues will carry on the legacy of our beloved Bill. Last night was difficult, but I promised myself I was going to get through today. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Robinson. The next speaker on our agenda this morning is West Palm Beach City Commissioner Kimberly Mitchell. Commissioner Mitchell.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Thank you.
Morning.
Last week, same time last week, there were 2 kinds of people in the city. Now, we could break them up into lots of categories, but for the exercise this morning, I'll say there's 2 types of people. There were those who agreed mostly with Bill Moss, and there were those who didn't agree with Bill Moss. But I will say this, the one unifying thing, everybody loved Bill Moss. And I want to speak for the South End. I live in the South End of the city. And like me, I didn't always agree with him, but I'll be darned if I didn't always like him and always love him. So this is tough. This is a man who could make me, Mayor, say it's all about the you, okay? Proud Seminole that I am, and the rare occasion that University of Miami would beat Florida State, for a year I had to do, it's all about the you, Bill. But mostly, FSU would win and he would have to do this for me. I will miss that. I'm going to share, so I don't want to get emotional, but I'll share my last kind of discussion with him. It was on election night, And I sent him a text message and I said, big congrats, Bill. Now you're stuck with me for 2 more years, smiley face. And he sent back, thanks, I love you too.
Thank you, Commissioner Mitchell. Our next speaker this morning is City of West Palm Beach Commissioner Keith James. Commissioner James.
Good morning, everyone. All right, I'm going to try this again. Good morning, everyone. Bill would want us to show a little bit more smiles and giggles and laughs. That's just the way Bill was. I had the pleasure of serving with Bill for a year, just about a year. And I was one of the newbies that the mayor referred to earlier, although I never stood up when Bill said, all rise. I'm going to tell you that now. But I remember Bill for the 3 C's, what I call the 3 C's. Class, compassion, and comedy. Now, we'll put comedy aside for now because to really laugh at Bill's joke, that was an acquired taste. And took me about 6 months to kind of get what he was trying to say, but many people have commented on Bill's sense of humor, and he did have a sense of humor. Whether or not you appreciated it or not was a different question, but always had, as the mayor says, a twinkle in his eye. I want to talk about the first 2, class and compassion. If I could, I would probably make one of those bracelets, a blue one since that's his favorite color, and I would put the initials WWBD to remind me how to conduct myself as a elected official, as a commissioner, because I learned a lot from Bill. Not so much from sitting on the dais at the commission, although I learned a lot there, but with sunshine laws and stuff, I couldn't really talk to him about issues. But I really learned more from Bill by observing him as a member of the MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization. I had the pleasure of serving as a representative of West Palm with Bill. And those of you who know Bill know that he was passionate about the preservation of grassy waters and fighting the extension of State Road 7. Now, in that capacity, he was very much a minority. We were very much in the minority on the MPL. But there was not a meeting before the meeting and after the meeting where Bill was very gracious and laughing and joking and glad-handing with those who, during the meeting, had vehemently opposed his position. That's a man of class. He was gracious. He was humble. He could disagree with you without being disagreeable. And if all of us as elected officials could leave that legacy, the world would be a much better place. Finally, compassion. You've heard about Bill's years of service to the city, over 30 years of service to this very fine city of ours. Over 12 years on the commission itself. And as I was telling someone earlier, this commission job doesn't come with a lot of bells and whistles. You don't get access to Air Force One. You don't get limos to take you from place to place. You don't get bodyguards. You do this because you love the city. So for Bill to continue to throw his hat into the ring, and he was successful in this last election, he did it as a labor of love. And I can appreciate that. And I hope that all of you out there will appreciate that. And in closing, if we all do what Bill would want us to do, and by the way, Bill, thanks for this wonderful weather. What Bill would want us to do now is to move on from this day and continue to work as hard as we can to make West Palm Beach a wonderful place to work, play, and live. Join me in honoring Bill's legacy by doing that. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Commissioner James. And at this time, I'd like to ask West Palm Beach City Commissioner Sylvia Moffitt to join us. Thank you.
Thank you. As the mayor said, Bill loved neighborhoods, and he understood the importance of neighborhood events and attended ours in Old Northwood regularly. My husband John and I once had the pleasure of hosting Bill in our home during Old Northwood's annual Mayor's Progressive Dinner. He was just as charming and engaging as he'd been at commission meetings I'd attended in the past. Bill mentioned the event and our house in particular at the following commission meeting. He realized the importance of recognition, and I was grateful for it. I grew to know Bill this past year as a colleague, and Bill was a joy to work with. Sitting next to him on the dais was a privilege. I was grateful for Bill's steadfast support of my candidacy during this past election, where he graciously welcomed me to attend his fundraisers. Bill's years of serving the city were a testament of his love to it. The city is a smaller place without him, and I'll miss Bill so very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Moffitt, and thank you to all of our City of West Palm Beach commissioners this morning and to Mayor Moyo. Our final speaker this morning will be a member of Commissioner Moss's family, his nephew, Mr. Michael Bast.
On behalf of the family members of Bill, those present today and those located throughout the country, we have been overwhelmed by the showing of support and the kind words about Bill that we have received over this past week. We do appreciate it and thank you. The event today is especially moving for us, and we know that Bill would never have expected this, but would be very touched by everything that has occurred today. I am one of many nephews of Bill that also grew up in this city and has had a chance to spend time with Bill, both before he became a commissioner and throughout that time. I have seen his willingness to drop whatever he was doing when any citizen approached him about any concern they may have had. For those of us that routinely watch the city commission meetings, we know that he followed through on his word. Bill was born at Good Samaritan Hospital, grew up in this city, and spent most of his life as a resident of the city. For the past several decades, he committed a great deal of his time doing as much as he could to contribute in a positive manner to this city. A lesson I take from his life is that it is much more difficult to do truly positive things, those things that build a community, than it is to criticize and stand in the way of progress. The number of obstacles that can be created are limitless. However, to be able to proudly list true accomplishments is rare and is its own reward. I am standing here today at a new city hall with a new library and a block away from a new waterfront that we are proud bear Bill's name as a commissioner. Bill never doubted that these were the right things to do, and he was fortunate to see them through to completion. Had these things not been accomplished when they were, given today's economic times, they may not have been possible for decades into the future. I, for one, as a resident of this city, am thankful that Bill chose the difficult path to pursue with not only these projects, but the many projects he accomplished for his own district. While he may now be gone, his legacy throughout the city will benefit all of us for many years to come. Mayor Moyo, city commissioners, our family does appreciate all of the wonderful things you have said today. We know that Bill also appreciated your camaraderie and friendships. We understand the sacrifices that all of your families make by virtue of your public service. It is almost always a thankless job whose only reward is the occasional gesture of appreciation from a stranger on the street that takes a moment to stop and say thank you. To the many people here today honoring Bill, and the many that showed your appreciation in giving him his final biggest victory as a candidate, this is more than he could have ever hoped for. He was and will always be thankful.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention this morning and for your attendance. That will conclude today's ceremony. We will conclude actually with the Dreyfus School of the Arts singers as we welcome them back to perform God Bless America. I'd ask that you please rise for this singing of God Bless America and also join us in singing. Let your own voice be heard as we're led by the Dreyfus School of the Arts singers. Upon the conclusion of God Bless America, you're invited to visit a refreshment table that we have set up to my left and also sign a guest book that we have this morning. Again, thank you for attending.